Castle of Good Hope.
Fantastic.
Here we go. Bastion 1.
Cuts and Ellenbogen.
Yes. Then we have Buren.
Yeah, I've been waiting a long time to get to this place again.
As the roads can illustrate, we got up very early again.
Yeah. And check out the moat.
Yes. There's Leerdam.
Yep.
Primary school history for us, this.
Crazy, I can remember learning them.
Yes. And I still remember them after all these years.
Yeah.
Okay, we have 2 left.
See, the parking is still locked, so we'll have to come back for that.
Yeah, it's very early still. As in 7 o'clock. This is
Oranje.
Oranje. And now there's 1 left. Let's see who spots the name first.
Nassau.
The 5 bastions of the Castle of Good Hope. I look forward to come to check it out.
Yes. That's the Cape Highlanders as well.
We whiled away an hour and we hope the parking area is open now.
Looks like it, yes.
And it is.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Great stuff.
Awesome.
Crossing the moat.
Good morning. As you can see with our drive up here this morning, that we're coming to visit the Castle of Good Hope. And why we're excited to come and see it is because it's the oldest existing colonial building in South Africa at this stage.
Incredible.
It's crazy to think that. And I'm telling you, I can't remember when last we visited here.
We were here in December of 1995. I remember it very well. It was the month after we got married.
Oh yes, yes.
What I also think is just as incredible with the stonework behind
Yeah.
us now is that it was restored in the 1980s apparently, and it is considered to be the best preserved example of 17th century architecture
Crazy.
in the entire world.
Yeah, that's wild.
So we love history. Are you ready?
Let's go. I can't believe that this stonework is from back then.
To think the first stone was laid on the 2nd of January 1666. I read on the castle's website.
That's crazy. That's the oldest building we've ever visited in South Africa, eh?
Yes, oh absolutely, by
Yeah.
far.
You know what I found interesting was that you read on that website as well that the castle was built on the coastline.
Right on the
Yes,
shore.
yes,
Yes.
So reclamation has made it that it's like sitting in the city centre now.
That's incredible
Yeah.
if you think about it.
Yeah, that's crazy. Leerdam.
This is Leerdam. Incredible to think it's just a giant, not just, but it's a pentagonal fort.
Yes,
It's a fort,
that's what it was.
which we know as the castle. What a fort.
Yeah.
But bigger than any of the ones we've seen.
Yes. And apparently the first one that Jan van Riebeeck built before this one in 1652 was made out of mud and wood. We came in from the parking area's entrance. I'm just going to go around and find the main entrance and come in there too to show you what that looks like.
Quite a long walkway into the castle I saw as we drove
Yes.
past.
And I see there's a few people waiting already.
which is so encouraging to see.
Yes, that's brilliant.
We did ask Private de Villiers at the gate. He says sometimes there are 50 cars that come in on a daily basis.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm happy to hear that.
All right, so I'm reading this from the website of the Castle of Good Hope,
Yeah.
.co.za. It reads, in 1862, the gated entry replaced the old entrance which had faced the sea. A bell tower situated over the main entrance was built in 1684. The original bell, the oldest in South Africa, was cast in Amsterdam in 1697 and weighs just over 300 kilograms.
Crazy.
It was used to announce the time as well as warning citizens in case of danger, since it could be heard 10 kilometers away. It was also rung to summon residents and soldiers when important announcements needed to be made.
That's
How
amazing.
incredible is that?
Check the moat. Cannons. This is a guard room. Soldier used to stand inside here. Look at this. Well, I'll be. Lion Gate. The lions, one male and one female, seen here are replicas of the terracotta originals now displayed in the Castle Museum. The sculptor is not known and the clay is probably local. This portal was probably constructed between 1720 and 1740. Wild. Oh, the lions were damaged by a falling flagpole and the female especially had to be reconstructed from the fragments. The original shoreline, Cape Town. The arsenal, the triangular arsenal standing on the Ravelin, appears for the first time on 19th century castle plans, but is probably much older. In it were stored rammers, sponges, a few kegs of gunpowder or ready-made charges in bags, powder horns for charging the guns, small open barrels of sponging water, several rounds of grape shot made up in canvas line stocks for firing the guns, several yards of slow burning fuse for line stock, several handspikes for the handling of carriages in combat, and other minor equipment and tools related to guns. Commemoration of an honourable tradition. When the noonday gun was fired from the Lion Battery Signal Hill on 14 May 1918, it brought Cape Town to a dead stop for a 2-minute silence. 1 minute in remembrance of those who died for their cause, 1 minute in gratitude for survivors. The idea was initiated by Mr. R.R. Bryden and the Mayor of Cape Town, Sir Harry Hands. Sir Percy Fitzpatrick submitted the suggestion to King George V. The 2-minute silence has been observed internationally since 1919 on 11 November and Remembrance Sunday at 11 o'clock. Wow! In memory of the officers and all other ranks of the 1st Cape Regiment of the South African Infantry Overseas Brigade who fell in the Great War 1914 to 1918. Again, where I think soldiers were posted as guards to guard the entrance. In memoriam. Open Monday to Sunday from 9 until 4. So it costs 50 Rand for adults, 25 Rand for South African pensioners, 25 Rand for students, 25 Rand for children, and 8 Rand for booked pupils. That's worth it.
Look at these doors. Hi.
Incredible.
These doors already look dangerous.
Yeah, typical castle doors, eh?
So these were cannons?
Yes.
Thank you.
How much is this? Just for the 2 of us?
2.
Yes.
No pensioners, nothing.
Nothing,
like
no.
that. Just 100.
100 Rand, yeah.
First tour is at 11 o'clock, right?
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to do the tour, but I want to go through it on my own. But I'd like to ask you, what is the nicest way to go through the castle?
Okay, I'm going to show you now. Wait.
Okay.
325.
What's incredible about this is that this view has not changed in 3.5 centuries. If you stood here 350 years ago, this is what you would have seen. Exactly this. No modern buildings, nothing.
I think we're ready to start exploring the inside of the castle. We were fortunate to chat to Derek. He is the events manager and the board secretary, and he has been involved in some way with the castle for 43 years.
Yeah, that's wild.
He is so knowledgeable, it's not even funny. We wanted to know what is the best way to approach it. Is there a specific order? And he says there is no natural flow. There is load shedding at the moment, so some of the exhibitions and the facilities are closed, are locked. So we'll explore as we go along, I think.
I think that's what we must do.
Yes. And try and make it as logical a flow as possible, but there is no specific flow.
Yeah, so I'm going to start on the left and move down this way, and then we can go around and see what we find open now because of load shedding. And if it's closed, we come back once load shedding
Come back
over.
later. We have no choice.
We have
Yes.
no choice, yeah.
I am excited.
So we're passing the restaurant now. We'll be back later.
Yes, most definitely.
It's just like crazy to think that this place is that old.
I am pleasantly surprised at how well it has been maintained on the inside.
Yes. Now what I find interesting is that Derek told us that wall over there, that wall there, was
Yes.
not there originally. This whole area was one big open courtyard.
Oh, you mean this cross one?
This cross one here, it was a
Yes.
whole big open courtyard. There's a well in the center over there, and Simon van der Stel came, and to make it even more secure, he built that wall through there.
Right, and
Yeah.
they said that the passages are much more defendable than one big open space.
Exactly.
So if something went wrong in the one, that they could all go to the other one and
if
secure
they
that.
were attacked and someone came through the main gate over there, they could all go through that one and still defend the officers and the governor and everybody, and they could escape out the back
Yes.
exit, which is quite fantastic.
All right, there's a set of stairs which I think would probably be your first stop.
Okay, so I must go upstairs. Oh. No way. Can you believe this? Bieren was the second bastion to be built. The courtyard between its stone walls remained open until 1720, when it was filled in to provide a better space for maneuvering the guns. A guardhouse and arsenal built in the courtyard by 1674 were then covered after the guardhouse had been demolished. During the restoration in the 1980s, the infill was removed and public toilets built into the old courtyard, which was then covered with earth once again. The vaulted stone entrance passage to the old arsenal was retained in order to provide access to the new toilets from the castle courtyard. Bieren. Man. The second one built. So I think back then these buildings weren't there. Ha! Now this must have been a pivot. I think there must have been some cannon on here that could turn and face in this direction. That's incredible. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a walk right around the top of the castle to all 5 bastions. I've been by Biren, so I'm going to go to the next one now. And we can just check what the view looks like from the top here. The bell tower, with its cupola built of imported Dutch klompies, was completed in 1683. In it hangs a bell cast in Amsterdam by Claudie Fremy in 1697. The bell was rung on the hour to indicate the time, but also in times of danger, fire and funerals. Wow. It is still rung on special occasions. The weather vane was replaced in accordance with a drawing by John Barrow. Check the weather vane. That is so interesting. Leerdam. Leerdam was the first bastion to be built. The foundation laying ceremony took place on 2 January 1666. Unfortunately, the foundations were not well laid, so that bastion soon showed signs of cracking and had to be largely rebuilt. There used to be wells on all the bastions, but only the one on Leerdam was discovered during the restoration process. A 19th century toilet built in the bastion has been maintained and upgraded. Wow. Check the pivot here. Gallows of the Castle of Good Hope in central Cape Town. Wow, the installation is made up of 118 graves excavated into the landscape, symbolizing the 117 known activists killed in detention by apartheid security forces. Sure. To think that this was the highest point or the highest building in Cape Town at one stage. Crazy. Wow, it looks very different this side. Sure, there's water. I wonder if that was a pool or was there stairs going into it. This is so interesting. Wow. I'm sure this is Orania. Yes, this is Orania. Also with its pivot gun, yeah. That was incredible that they had that back then already. These must have been some kind of a cell or something just to let in light. Wow. Maybe barracks. Okay, so I can't get through to this side, so I have to go around. But there's a cannon here. Oh, this is Nassau. As with the other bastions, Nassau also contained an arsenal in the center of its courtyard, which was covered by infill in the 1720s to facilitate the movement of the cannons. On a castle plan of 1710, a donker gat, dark pit, is shown under this bastion. This referred to the dungeon, which is still to be seen here. There have been various facilities in buildings on top of this bastion, and today these have been refurbished to provide for staff toilets. this is also still part of Nassau. Check it this out. It's like a conference center. Wow, that's pretty neat. And they've got an elevator here, I suppose for people in wheelchairs. That's brilliant. Morning. I think this is Katzenellenbogen. Ah, there's the plaque. The only one that didn't have a plaque was Oranje. Katzenellenbogen. On this bastion, the VOC, Dutch East India Company, planted their flag, which was visible far out to sea. In 1786, a prison designed by Louis Michel Thibault was constructed in the bastion. The bastion adjoined the rooms in which King Cetshwayo was imprisoned by the British. His wives cooked here for him on open fires, and he was allowed to stroll on the bastion. Yeah, King Cetshwayo on the bastion. Katzenellenbogen was a saluting battery for ships arriving and departing. Can you believe it that this was so close to the ocean back then? Apparently it was about 50 meters away. The sea was about 50 meters away. And look at this, all you see are train lines now and cars, and the harbour is like, sure, how far? Nearly a kilometer away? That's wild. And that picture I just showed you, this is where those guns were mounted, and this is where King Cetshwayo was sitting on one of these guns. Wild. This is just below Katzenellenbogen, and these look like toilets where the toilets were. What? Even toilet paper, yeah. Wow. Sure. Provost. The prison with its several cells, some of which were meant for solitary confinement, was designed by Louis Michel Thibault and built in 1786. The cells were subdivided by the British in the 19th century, and at the time some of the old doors were used in new openings and reversed so that inscriptions by 18th and 19th century inmates now appear on the courtyard side. To protect the woodwork, a glass roof has been added to cover the prison courtyard. Look at this. M. Farling Hotel. This is incredible. So these were the cells. Yeah, small, eh? I never got light to getting fresh air through there. Hey, this was a bit better than the other one. You can at least see this blue skies. Whoa. I don't see anything on these doors. Let's check maybe the other doors. Ah, here it is. M. Farling Hotel. This is definitely original. Check it out. Ryan D. Rayton. These are real inmates' names that were locked up here. Wow. P. Adonis. In this place, a man has been 5 months and more without a crime. All for the... I can't see what it says. Pops. Oh. I was going to put my light on. You saw how dark it was in this place. Can you imagine? This must be solitary confinement or something. Look how dark this is. That's the only bit of light you get. Whoa! So these were people that were imprisoned here that did the graffiti on the doors and the door frames. Ai, hickey. So this was on the inside. They've turned the doors around so that we can read it from this side. Right, so this is where I'm getting back to, is Beeren, where I started.
Let me tell you, as I was sitting, waiting for you, I was chatting to Derek.
Yes.
And a passenger plane flew over Table Mountain.
What?
He says he's almost never seen it because it's not their flight path.
Wow, you must have got permission to do it, eh?
I was too late to capture it on
Wow.
film. That was super cool to see. Not a little aeroplane, a
Boeing.
big passenger plane,
Oh,
yes. So you enjoyed that walk?
Brilliant, brilliant.
You saw Blanc.
Yes.
He says they remember the bastions now in school with the acronym Blanc,
Yes,
which is Beeren, Leerdam, Oranje, Nassau and Katzenelnbogen.
Yes.
All right, military museum next.
Let's do this. Check these cannons.
That one also has something, but this is a long one, hey?
Yeah.
Portuguese cannon. This is an 18-pounder bronze cannon made in India in 1638.
Wow.
That is insane.
Swedish cannon. 8-pounder. Dutch East India Company. Doesn't give a date though, eh?
Doesn't it?
I can't see a date. Military Museum. Let's go in here.
So you can come inside via the side door which are open, which gives you a bit more, less up and down. Yeah.
Yeah. This is the doors coming in. I wonder if it really looked like that. Right on the sea. That would have been amazing.
I can smell, I want to say the centuries.
Yes, you can. You can smell that it's old.
Now this is incredible. This is how they exposed the layers of paint to determine what colors the walls were painted.
When they were doing the renovation?
Yes, and that's why it's behind perspex.
Actually more restoration, eh?
Yes.
Yeah.
And restoration, yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And behind this perspex and that
Yes.
is exactly as it was painted all those years ago.
So this is the original?
Yes, behind the perspex is all original. If we go that side, you'll see it's a bit faded.
Yes, yes.
You see here?
Yeah, you can
so
see.
here you can see it's old. And if you go around that way, that's how beautifully they reproduced it.
Okay, I
Because
see.
they know that it's authentic because of what
Yes.
they uncovered
Yes.
during the restorations.
Crazy.
It's insane, this place.
Distribution of the koi. Namakwas, Griekwas. What is this? Kochokwas.
Kochokwas, Chainokwas, Hesekwas,
Hesekwas,
Atakwas, Chorikwas. We've come across several of those
Yes.
names on our travels.
Oh, it's a beautiful painting. Eh?
Yes. And look here, Clash at Table Bay, 1510.
What?
And they came around the Cape, Dias de Gama.
Yes, 1487, when we were at Mossel Bay, wasn't it?
Yes. We saw Bartholomew Diaz's ship.
Yes.
Yes, and the museum, I
And the
think.
museum too, yes. Where they used to come ashore just to check out everything and get fresh water and stuff like that.
Didn't they leave their post in the shoe?
They left a post there by the tree, that one tree. Yeah, look at this. Yeah, this is a beautiful painting. Eh?
Nguni cows.
Yeah. Surrendering the Cape, 1806. Sure. The Battle of Blouberg. A reproduction of the Dutch East India Company musketeer at the Cape, 1652. Yes. Yes, it looks like Jan as well.
Yeah, it says.
Jan van Riebeeck, yep. First with 4 bastions.
Yes, here too is the model of the one with the 4.
Yes.
With the Dutch flag, you see.
Yeah. The castle. Yeah. Look at this here. Here's the castle, and here's the coastline right here. Crazy. Dutch East Indiaman, Africa. Royal Mortar, 1806. Whoa. Arms at the Cape. Whoa! Shoo. British flintlock rampart musket, 1730 to 1830. This musket was mounted on the side of ships and on the ramparts of forts. It was used on fortifications during the frontier wars of the Eastern Cape in the early 19th century, on loan from the Ezekiel Museums of Cape Town. Wow, massive. Cannonball in place, but it's got to get pushed right down with a ramrod.
It's just so that we can see what it looks like.
Yes.
That'll take care of some things. We're done at the military museum.
Yes, we are.
This is apparently the residence of the second in command to the governor. Our load shedding is over,
So we can go in now.
so you can go in.
Great stuff.
I'll wait for you in the shade. Look, I'm very happy with how many people and how many little tours are taking place.
Yeah, look there, people are sitting there by the restaurant.
Yes, love that.
The Secunda's house. These stairs led to the house that was built in 1695 for the official who was the governor's second in command. The storerooms, kitchen and slave quarters were located in the basement, the dining area and office on the first floor and the bedrooms on the top floor. The house has been furnished with late 17th century period furniture and is noteworthy for its original painted floor and restored wall paintings. Okay, I'm going in. Incredible furniture. Yeah. It's the original paint again. Yeah. Sedan chair. Oh. How's that clock?
Once we go to school. So this introduction roughly takes about 10 to 15 minutes. The module plus minus 40 to 45 minutes.
Sure. How beautiful is that?
Stick to that for security reasons. At Cape Town, you can never be so close to your daughter, right?
So we won't be.
In the tour group now.
No, you decided that you want to explore on your own.
Yeah.
But it's good to see that people are here for the tour.
Exactly.
Hey?
I sincerely apologize to
The fortress housed a church, bakery, various workshops, living quarters, shops and cells, among other facilities.
Yeah.
And you got to see some of the
The
cells.
cells with the graffiti on the doors, it's crazy.
Unbelievable. The yellow paint on the walls was originally chosen because it lessened the effect of heat and the sun. Interesting,
That
hey?
is interesting.
This wall that we spoke about earlier was built to protect citizens in case of an attack, dividing the two courtyards. This courtyard where we are now is where the cut balcony is that we're looking at. It was originally built, listen to this, in 1695, but rebuilt in its current form between 1786 and 1790. From that balcony, announcements were made to soldiers, slaves, and the inhabitants of the Cape.
Yeah,
And those statues are called Kings of the Castle.
fantastic.
Beautiful still, hey?
Yeah. Numoa, Koringhakwa, leader of the first Khoi Dutch War, 1618 to 1663. He led a small group of great warriors fighting the invading European colonists in the first Khoi Dutch War in 1659.
Outside, opposite the road. See the massive great parking area? We call it. And wait, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not sure if you actually know this. Usually our kids wear the conditions earth like a baby. And what's a baby normally like? It's either wet and it's not wet.
Natural born leader of the Amahlubi, who was imprisoned at the Castle of Good Hope for treason and rebellion in 1874. Yeah, he was the king of the Amahlubi. King Langi Balele of the Amahlubi. King Setswayo of the Amazulu, 1826 to 1884. Formidable Zulu king who valiantly fought against armed colonial conquests and who was imprisoned at the Castle of Good Hope in 1879. King Sekukune of the Bapedi, 1814 to 1882, fearless leader of the Bapedi, captured and detained at the Castle of Good Hope in 1879. Yeah. Now walking through the original castle cross wall which divides the central courtyard into a front and back section. Buildings such as the Governor's House, where you are now standing, and the big council chamber were added on either side of the cross wall around 1695. Check at this. Can you believe it? Look how beautiful this is. salt glazed stoneware. Westerwald, Germany, 1671. Some whistling sound going off here now. This large oil by Robert Dodd depicts the English fleet in Table Bay. Could these vessels perhaps be part of the so-called First Fleet of the name given to a group of 11 ships that left England on 13 May 1787 to found a penal colony on Australia? They sailed from England to Rio de Janeiro, then eastward to Cape Town and onwards to Botany Bay, Australia, arriving there between 18 and 20 January 1788. Whoa! Banquet Hall upstairs. Let's go and see Lady Anne. Look at the size of this place. This is a banquet hall, all right. Please do not touch exhibits. Look at this. Wow. Can you believe the size of this place? Can you imagine having a banquet in a place like this? It must be crazy to experience something like this. Arsenal in Katzenelnbogen. For a long time this arsenal was called the Dark Hole because it was wrongly identified as the original castle dungeon of the 17th century. The building is however typical of all arsenals, with its vaulted brick roof, brick floor and long winding approach passage. Arsenals were built into all the bastions before 1682. Check out this. Very humid in here. The grain cellar. This building, completed in 1695, was built with a vaulted ceiling for use as a grain store. The sloping roof over the vaults was finished with small clay tiles, which formed the floor of the second story that was added a few years later. When the grain cellar was no longer used as a grain store, it was turned into an arsenal, and the original green window shutters then painted red, as was the custom for arsenals. A collection of artifacts excavated during the restoration is on display in a museum. Oh, look at this. Here are the original terracotta lions by the entrance. Oh, wow. How fantastic that they're still here. Look at that. Stone beacon marking the boundary of the Dutch colony, Plettenberg Bay, Western Cape, 1778.
I picked up a few interesting tidbits from the guide while he was here.
Yes.
So this was the governor's residence and meeting place.
Okay.
The tower there at the top
Yeah.
was the highest building or structure in Cape Town for many years. I
Yes.
couldn't catch how many.
Yeah.
And the rock and the slate used in the castle or the fortress
Yes.
come from the quarries on Robben Island and Signal Hill.
Okay.
And the wood used here comes from no other than Hout Bay, which
so that's where
makes
the
so
name
much
comes
sense.
from. That makes so much sense. Crazy.
Never knew that.
Oh, that explains it.
Explains the name.
Yes. Wow.
He's very enthusiastic about his job, which I love.
Yeah, brilliant. If you look at the sundial, it apparently just shows the morning time, like Sonny said, but it says it looks like it shows it's just past 11. But my time says about 11:45, so it's not that far out. Or maybe our watches are out and it's more accurate. Now, apparently, this used to be the kitchen where they made the food for the governor and took it to the governor. Look at this. And there's a well down here. And they've lifted up the floor now, but apparently there's a trap door. There used to be a trap door. You opened the trap door, you lowered your bucket down, collected the water, and you could use it here in the kitchen. This is incredible. And there's water in there now. There's water in there right now. This is where you would come up. If you had an appointment with the governor, come up here and go through this door and then meet the governor on the inside. So I'm going to be taking a walk into the oldest office in South Africa. This is the door that you would have come through to come and see the governor, and if you came in through the door, this is what you would see. And then his aide would meet you here and tell you to wait for him, and you'll sit and you'll wait here till your turn comes. If the aide would come and get you, he's over here. And this is where the aide sits. And then you'd come through these doors to see the governor. Whoa. The oldest office in South Africa. 1675. Fantastic. We are here at the Salam Nandi restaurant. So they've closed for breakfast. I was in the mood for a fresh fruit salad and yogurt. It's so hot, I wanted something cool, but they don't do that now. So I'm just going to take a ham, cheese and tomato, which is 48 Rand. And then I want 2 Powerades. I'm so thirsty. And we're going to be sitting here, enjoying our meal. In the castle. Look at this, on the inside here of the restaurant. Nice. Sonia's finished one, I finished one, and we're busy with this third one between the two of us now already.
Yeah, it's not that hot, but it's tiring, eh?
Thirsty. When I was walking around the top to the 5 bastions,
Yes.
it was hot immediately. Check that view out there. Whoa.
You can't beat that.
So Sonia was able to pull some strings and get my fruit salad with some yogurt. That's fantastic. And then she took the toasted ham, cheese and tomato sandwich. So we found out that this is the Lady of Good Hope. But they had plans to put her on the outside, on a plinth outside, but then they decided because she's bronze, it's not a good idea, so they're keeping her here until they find a permanent place for her.
That was a nice light lunch.
Oh, I enjoyed it.
I was more thirsty than hungry.
Exactly, but I haven't had a fruit salad in a long time.
Yeah, true. So we're walking now on what they call the Voorhof, which you can say is the inner courtyard.
Yes.
And then we're going through the Waterpoort to the Wapenplaats, which is where they did weapon inspections, the rear courtyard.
Okay.
So when I heard the guide talk to the second group of tourists, you know the street we come in from the N2 is called Strand Street.
Yes.
Strand meaning beach.
Yes.
So Strand Street was where the beach was.
Can you believe
Right here.
it?
Right next to the building.
Crazy.
That is incredible. Derek.
Yes.
Yes. So,
You know the story of that? The wooden floor.
No.
is that a wooden floor?
So, this was the last residence of the governor at the Cape, and And I'm pretty sure the missus complained about the noise of horses' hooves and carriage wheels on stone. So
Okay.
his artisans install a wood and bitumen floor to absorb the sound.
This is
And it
original
works- and it works as well today as it did centuries ago.
Really?
Absolutely.
to
Wow.
absorb the sound.
Thank
Aren't
you.
you just a fountain of knowledge?
Look at it here, hey?
Look at this.
So look at the wood, hey? Really wood.
I wonder if this is from Hout Bay.
Must be.
Must be.
Yeah.
This cross was originally erected at Delville Wood by the 1st South African Infantry Brigade, July 1960.
What?
Battle of the Somme, July 1960.
That's wild, eh?
And there it says, in memory of Lieutenant Colonel F.
H. Hill.
officers and men of the 1st South African Infantry Regiment who fell in the Great War.
1914 to 1918.
In memory of those officers and men who fell in East Africa during the Great War, this tablet is erected by their comrades of the 12th South African Infantry, 1914 to 1918.
From the people of the United Kingdom in honor of those men from South Africa.
Who were awarded the Victorian Cross, Britain's highest award for gallantry during the First World War.
Crazy.
Wowza. The little bird was feeding its 2 chicks.
Okay.
There are 2 chicks in that nest as well.
Dolphin Pool. When Governor W.A. van der Stel obtained permission to build a new bakery in 1705, he constructed his double-story building at right angles to and directly behind his quarters, thus creating a private governor's garden. Yeah, he built a square pool with a central dolphin fountain surrounded by a colonnade with offices for his clerks. In 1860, the British Army pushed the balustrade into the water, filled the pool with soil and turned the clerks' offices into stables for officers, then living in the refurbished bakery. The buildings and pool were rebuilt on their original foundations in the 1980s, and the balustrade reconstructed using the excavated original pieces as models. The designs for the fountain and planting pots were based on 17th century examples, and the pots filled with plants known to the van der Stels. Torture room. Yo. Torture chamber. The dungeon and adjoining torture chamber are both constructed of solid stone walls with ventilation ducts instead of windows. The torture instruments usually consisted of a rack, thumb screws, a brazier for heating branding irons, and an iron ring on the ceiling for a rope with which the prisoner could be hauled up and dropped again. Stripado. A prisoner was put the question, "Are you guilty?" and then tortured until he admitted he was guilty or was released. A senior clerk sat at a table in this room to record the proceedings. During the restoration, the stone dividing wall between the 2 rooms, which had been demolished, was rebuilt on its original foundation. Yeah. Man. Phew. So you say this is where they used to do the weapons inspections?
Yes, they used to call this area or this courtyard Wapenplaats.
Okay.
But what we haven't even touched on the military, because this place has a long association with the military.
Yes, it does.
Served as the local headquarters for the South African Army in the Western Cape, and today houses the Castle Military Museum, where we were first,
Yes.
and ceremonial facilities for the traditional Cape regiments. The castle is also the home of the Cape Town Highlanders Regiment, a mechanized infantry unit. We drove past them this morning,
Yes.
after Nassau.
Yes.
Yes. And interestingly, the military has a recruitment drive on today.
Today, yeah, that's why it's so busy. Yeah.
Hundreds of youngsters have been in here to
Yeah.
collect forms.
Yep.
Very interesting.
Old well. This well, about 8 meters deep, is at the center of the castle and the point from where the 5 bastion points were originally set out. When a wall was built across the castle courtyard in 1691, it covered the well, which was retained as a source of water. It was operated by hand pumps, one of which is still visible in the well room. Oh, that's the well pump. Look. It's just been disconnected now, but wow. Crazy. Look here. There's the well. We lower the buckets to collect water from there. So interesting. There's a tank that they must probably pump water into.
As we're walking back to the car,
Yes, ma'am.
I want to tell you that while you were inside the governor's office,
Yes.
the oldest office in South Africa,
Yes.
I heard the noon gun
You
for the
joking?
first time in years.
Wow, fantastic. Oh, that's brilliant.
Yes, so
we
we
heard
did.
so many rumors that it had stopped firing at one stage, but they told us, yeah, it's never stopped.
Apparently not, and
Yeah.
it fires every day at noon from Monday to Saturday.
Yes.
Yes. So we visited today for the first time in 29 years.
Yes.
The last time we came was the month after we got married.
Yep.
We came to the city to change my surname
I remember
at the
that.
Department of Home Affairs.
Yes, yes.
So what they did is, instead of saying I got married on our wedding day, they entered into their system that I passed away
I remember that.
on my
yeah.
wedding day. So it took me the better part of a year, as we're passing Leerdam,
Yeah.
to get that resolved.
Yeah,
Do
it
you
was
remember?
crazy. It was crazy. You couldn't even apply for credit. They would say to you, "What?
How are you alive?"
Yeah, I thought you were committing fraud with someone else's ID. Yeah.
So yeah, that's actually a funny story. And when I think back to the castle, I inevitably think back to that day.
Yes. So I am leaning against one of the walls of Leerdam, one of the bastions of the castle here in Cape Town. And to think that the first stone was laid on Leerdam on the 2nd of January 1666. And this is what I'm leaning against now. It's like just mind-blowing to think that. And we have had a fantastic experience here at the castle. Hope you guys have enjoyed it with us and enjoyed all the things we showed you. And there is so much. It was really so much fun to do it. We really were looking forward to doing it. But it's time for us to leave and say thank you for being with us. Thank you for joining us on this one. If you've enjoyed it, give us a thumbs up, subscribe down below, and we'll see you in the next episode.